the world. We're gonna take on the world. Standing up tall, we gotta make it our own. No waiting around. Winners will never look down. No one can stop us, we got it. The future is right in our hands. Give it 100%. We gonna take on the world. Yeah, we gotta move. Speaking the truth. Yeah, paying our dues. We making the news. Yeah, we hitting the roof. No, we don't wanna lose. Climbing and shaking the walls. We gotta break all the rules. We're gonna take on the world. 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 Feeling the kid.
Hello everyone, my name is Nilesh Mathure. I'm one of the co-founders of SaasTribe, and today we have with us the founder of Versoly, Volkan. So Versoly is a no-code website builder, and it's not just any other no-code website builder. It's a website builder which helps you build without compromising SEO, page speed, and how is it actually different to some of the traditional website builders. We're going to see that today. So without any further ado, please welcome Volkan. Hi, Volkan. How are you doing today?
Hey, Nilesh. I'm doing good, thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you. And thanks for joining us on the live stream. I think we have a few folks. We'll give some time, but let me just see. Hi, Sudeep. How are you doing? Just let me say hello to a few folks here. Hi, Unes. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks, guys. So please stay tuned. You can go ahead and comment. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask them in the comment section, and we will make sure to address those. So with that, Volkan, talk a little bit about you as a founder. How big is Versoly? When did you start it? And then we can progress into getting an overview of Versoly as well.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the founder. I did have a co-founder before, but kind of brought him out, which is an interesting story, but it's kind of long, so maybe leave that for another time. But yeah, so I'm technical as well. So I do all the coding, and then I do all the marketing, all the support, etc. Currently, it's only me. Sometimes I hire freelancers for like smaller jobs. They've helped me with some side projects for it. But yeah, mainly just myself. And then Versoly was started in 2019. So I had a SaaS before this, which was in the PDF space, and it was using some of the similar technology to what Versoly is using now. But I spent way too long on it and realized that I probably needed, well, it's tough because I think there's a lot of SaaS founders here, right? So when you're building and you spend ages, like one of the main advice is talk to customers, and I just didn't do that on the first time. So I just spent ages building, and then when I was ready to release it, I tried to release it, but then I just still wasn't talking with customers. Just mainly just kept building features, and then kind of burnt out. But during that time, I had a list of SaaS ideas I wanted to build. So I had just like 30 SaaS ideas, and I just went through them with my ex co-founder and decided that website building still hadn't really been solved. Uh, I'm not sure if I'm sure everyone's tried like WordPress, Webflow, and probably
Yes.
even tried custom code and stuff like this. So it just still hadn't been solved. Like Squarespace was there and it was growing fast, but like Squarespace is great for like small businesses, but if it's for like a SaaS business who needs a bit more flexibility, I just found that there just wasn't a fit. Um, and then got initial traction by basically just building out these blocks. So if you go on any SaaS website, they normally just have like a nav bar, a header, like a client section, and they just have all exactly the same. And then they have like a blog. So I just thought, let me build something that's perfect for this use case and then branch out. So that's basically what I've been doing since 2019.
That's great. And so the although the total addressable market for like website builders, landing page builders is quite large, it is also um, saturated with some of the legacy type of players. I mean, of course, there's so many different website builders out there. What were you seeing, and what you had in mind in terms of building something different?
Yeah, so the market's definitely, there's a term, right? Blue ocean and red ocean, and website builders is like super red, like
Yeah.
like blood red. What I was seeing was there was a lack of. So on one end you have like Squarespace and Wix, which were like easy to get started, but very like terrible flexibility. You ended up having to like open up the custom code editor, and then anything you did in there wasn't like usable really. Like it became really unmaintainable and stuff. And then on the other end you had stuff like maybe like custom WordPress, but then once again, you're running into issues where only the developer can actually make changes to the website. So it's just like, what's the point of it? So the unique insight for me came from being able to use a code editor and matching it up with the no-code UI. So I think I'll be doing a demo later, which I can show. But it was just that unique insight where there's no platform for developers and for no coders kind of thing. So that's what I've been trying to work on since then. And I started out with just trying to give a lot of flexibility because, um, the market was just lacking in that terms. Like Squarespace gave you a ton of like easy to get started, but there just wasn't any flexibility there. So like I couldn't really attack from that end because they had tons of templates. So I was like, what market can I attack? Like what little niche can I attack? And as I was a SaaS founder myself, and I saw that there was a need in the SaaS market, I started there. And most of my customers, even now, are still SaaS, like early stage SaaS companies who need a website, but they don't want to hire a designer because it's expensive. And they've tried a Squarespace, but they just don't like Squarespace cater for small businesses and not really SaaS companies.
Okay. Okay. And in terms of day to day, I know you started in 2019. How much time did you spend then, and when you were building it, and now how much do you spend today on like daily support, adding new features, and things of that nature?
Yeah, so it's mainly so support's really low. So we have a lot of technical customers, even though some of it can get a little technical, and we sometimes get customers who are like less technical. So it can be challenging when those come in. But most of the time, it's pretty low support. Mostly, I'm just still trying to hit that product market fit. Like I had a small like product market fit on a spectrum, and then there's like niches as well. So it like when they first launched, it was literally just a landing page builder where people could come and add just a few blocks, and then they'd get their like SaaS marketing site done like in a few hours. But as I've added more features like blogs, knowledge base, and stuff, it becomes a little more complex. It's just mainly I'm adding features and just trying to hit product market fit where it's like every effort I put in is like compounded. At the moment, like I could theoretically reach out to people and get sales, but I'm still trying to work on like, can I build a product where I get a customer and they tell their friends? Because people like they love Versoly, but they won't tell their friends. So that's where I really want to be. where I guess NPS would be the right measure, right? Where it's like, would you recommend this to a friend kind of thing? And that's what I'm trying to get to, like people recommending to friends and sharing.
Okay. And how difficult is it in to provide services if people are migrating from, say, Squarespace, Wix, Webflow to Versoly? Like, do you have any guidelines, or do you provide any additional services on top of that for people who want to migrate? Or because you have such a fairly technical customer base, they pretty much do it on their own?
Yeah, so it's mainly been customers doing it on their own. Like we now have like one guy who's a Versoly developer. So if people need a service and they're willing to pay for it, then they can hire him. And he's a great designer as well. So it's like he could theoretically take like a Webflow site or a Squarespace site or a custom coded site. Like we have a lot of people who have custom code, and then as their business grows, right, it's like, oh, now I've hired like a marketer who needs to edit pages, and I can't because it's all in custom code. So yeah, it's like if you upgrade to them, and then the marketing can now make changes. But it's fairly simple, and a lot of our customers will just use our blocks. And it's not like the normal templates you get in some of these other builders. Like you can customize the themes like completely, and then the blocks work on all of them. So like you have 300 blocks that you can just drag and drop, and just works like magic. And that was another insight that I saw in the market actually,
Yeah.
was a lot of these were templates, right? So you get one of these templates, you put it on, and then you try to add stuff, and it's just really difficult. Like it just breaks the whole website.
Yes.
And then that was one of the other unique insights.
Okay. And why would you? What? Give a reason why should people migrate from Webflow or Wix to Versoly? What are some of the top reasons they should migrate?
Yeah, so for like Squarespace and Wix, I'd say flexibility, right? So you're trying to add something, it's just really difficult to add, and then maybe you hire a Squarespace developer who like adds custom code, but even then, it's like you can't really change that. And in terms of Webflow, um, a collaboration, it's different, like pricing, like it's still cheap. Even like so, for if you had like 2 or 3 members on Webflow, I think it costs like $100 something, but that's still a lot cheaper than hiring a developer, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I'd say so. Versoly is a little cheaper, but it's not really about price. But what
Yes.
Versoly has is these blocks, right? So if you're a marketer, if you're a marketer trying to like build a website on Webflow, there's no chance. Like it's normally you have to hire a designer. So instead of having a developer, you're now hiring a designer to do everything. But in Versoly, you just have these blocks, so you can just drag and drop across. So that would be the main thing. Like if you're a marketer and you're trying to add pages yourself, and you don't want to waste time with the designer. Yeah.
In terms of your sales, I think you've done a remarkable job. You have, I think, 15,000 plus customers. Are all of them
Yeah.
paying customers?
No, so they're the customers who've built a website. Not public with the how many paid customers we have, but it's profitable, pays my salary, so I can
Yeah.
do this for the foreseeable future now. So
Okay. Okay. And so there is actually a comment here. Oh, yeah, just a few more comments. Let me see who that is. Um, Jason is here. Hi, Jason. Ruhani is here as well. Hi, Ruhani. Please go ahead, guys, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Uh, but so, like, in terms of the design, the blocks, there is a lot more flexibility in using Versoly versus what people would traditionally get in Wix. And or but is it like, so is your target market more of a technical audience, or can a marketer actually with some little knowledge can still use Versoly?
yeah, so we have semi-technical marketers, right? So there's a lot of
Yeah.
marketers who've been around for say 10 years. They've used something like WordPress, and then
Yes.
WordPress, like they're used to like copying stuff, like copying random code and pasting in. So
Yeah.
if you can do that, then yeah, you can use Versoly really well. I think the main problem comes where someone's never used the website builder before, and then they
Yeah.
come in there and they're expecting just to be able to just build stuff and make it super custom. Like if you just stick to the like one of the I think that so one of the insights I had was just removing options. So when no coders would first come into Versoly, it would show them like a million options,
Yes.
and people would get really confused. And as I've removed more and more stuff on a no code mode, it's got better traction in terms of like marketers being able to use it. So yeah, just slowly learning people love clicking buttons, but sometimes the buttons there can be dangerous and people break stuff. And
Yes.
then like the magic with Versoly as well compared to other builders. So if you're in Webflow and you make a change to say like the styling, it will break your whole website. But in Versoly, we have a special way where it doesn't actually break anything, so you can make changes and delete stuff. So yeah.
Okay. And for the sake of our audience, folks, I know you like deals, and we all love having good deals. So currently, what Volkan has, and I've been talking to him on Twitter, on his website chat. So currently the plans are all hosted by Versoly, but in future Volkan has some plans around coming up with a special plan where you can do your own hosting and use Versoly as a builder, right? Volkan, we talked a little bit about that. Can you share how that could be useful if so from a builder perspective, they just build it and then export the code and self-host it? Am I right?
Yeah, so I was thinking, so I use like Amazon and a lot of other of services inside of Amazon, so there's high fixed costs. But if there was a way that I could allow people to like maybe use GitHub or something, or sync to like Cloudflare pages and all of these options and Netlify, like a lot of founders are already doing now, then
Yeah.
I could theoretically offer a much lower price. So I could offer a really good deal, and that's what I'm working on at the moment. But pricing, I need to build out this GitHub sync. But once that's done, then yeah, people can host it on Netlify and get all the benefits of like edge hosting and stuff. So it's actually, it works out nice. It's a nice feature for my current customers, and it would be I think yeah, it'd be great for as a deal.
That's great. So, guys, please keep a watch. I mean, whenever Vulkan does launch it, we will make an announcement.
I'm hoping for maybe like early September it can be done, because yeah, I'm still working on the pricing and the feature, but yeah.
Okay. Vulkan, tell me a little bit about your sales side. Do you mostly depend on referrals, inbound leads? Do you have like an agency program, affiliate program, or you do outbound sales as well?
So it's mostly been from like niche forums, like Facebook groups. I've had a little bit of success, and then there's like indie hackers, which is like a bunch of developers, people trying to become like founders. I've had
Yes.
some success there, and then I've been really lucky with Product Hunt. So I launched a product called Saas Pages there, and that's got 2,000 plus upvotes, and it's one of the most upvoted products of all time. So
Yes.
I've got kind of a funnel where it's like um, content into Versoly because it's super relevant. So the SaaS pages is basically like a collection of hundreds of websites divided by sections. So if you're looking for the perfect feature section, you can just scroll down, find that section, and then you're good to go. And then I have little ads there saying, "Do you need a landing page? Then use Versoly." That's worked really nicely. That gets thousands of visitors a month, and then that will send a percentage to Versoly.
Okay. And
But because the price point's like $19 a month, it's very hard to justify outbound sales and stuff like this.
yes, you're right. Yes. Yes. But do you have like mostly startups, mid-market customers, or do you have some enterprise customers as well?
It's pretty much all startups, like very early stage startups. So from like the indie hacker and product hunt crowd. I have some what like odd customers I call them because it's like maybe they're like later stage, they're like smaller companies,
Yes.
but they just like the builder so much that they've decided just to say, okay, we'll use Versoly. And
Fantastic.
these ones normally come off WordPress. So like I had a
Yes.
bunch of customers whose WordPress sites got hacked, and then
Yeah.
they're like, okay, it's time to move now. That's one of the big ones. Like, or plugin failed, so their website went down. So there's just a ton of issues with WordPress, and these are the more odd clients that come to us.
Okay. In terms of use cases, people are using it mostly for websites, landing pages, or blogs as well. How are people using it?
Yeah, so they're the main use cases basically. So mostly for like marketing websites. So most of our customers are SaaS customers, so they have like a homepage, pricing page. Some of them are blogging. Yeah, and like yes, that's basically about it.
Okay. So
And
I
then
think
features pages as well, right? So it's definitely features and comparison pages,
yes, yes,
stuff
of
like
course.
this.
Yes. Yes. Well, why don't we get a look into Versoly a little bit, and then you can give an overview. We also have a few more folks joining in. Sam is here. Hi, Sam, Ranveer, BL, Samota, Laksha. Hi, guys. Thanks for tuning in. So we are live with the founder of Versoly. Please go ahead and check out Versoly's website. It's versoly.com, Versoly.com. And Volkan is the founder. And if you have any questions, do feel free to ask away. But yes, let me go ahead and share the screen, and we can get a first-hand overview. There we go. Yes, we are in Versoly. So, yeah, Vulcan, please run away like with what's going to happen once you users sign in, how easy it is to get started, and some of the different blocks and things of that nature, and some of the unique features as well, please.
Okay, yeah. So what normally happens is they'll start off in a new website. They can pick from like a blank website, which I recommend, or they can pick a template. But the reason I recommend blank is normally like you want your like design to fit your content and you don't want it to be the other way around. So if you have four testimonials, then like four really good testimonials, then you want to add the four testimonials. But I see people with like picking a template and then adding only two testimonials, even though they have like amazing testimonials. And then other things like features, maybe you've got six features you want to highlight, but the template only has four features. So you really want your website to fit around your content. So I'll go ahead and then show you the magic. So back 3.5 years ago, these kind of what are they called, like blocks, were not really as popular. They became more popular recently. So I kind of saw where the market was going and guessed right, it seems. But as you can see, you can literally just drag and drop and build your website, and then in like 2 minutes, you've got a whole website built out. And then, as I was saying, for the SaaS, right, you've got these blocks here where you can add. This is on my development thing, so we'll leave it there. And then, so you should be able to come up and then just type stuff away. Super simple. I think a lot of builders offer this. And then, so some of the magic comes from being able to create like global components. Create component. Page. So this is the block from the other page. So if you make changes, so I'll show you now. So it's changed here, changed here. So that's like one of the features that's a pretty cool feature. I think more builders are adding that now because yeah, it just makes a ton of sense because then that way you don't have to update it everywhere.
Yeah.
And then the CMS, so the blog functionalities all here. So you've got your blog, you've got your authors, categories, tags, etc. And yeah, the main, so yeah, so the main like USPs kind of thing is so we've got a non-technical mode here. So what I really wanted Versoly to be is I wanted that so you could have like marketers, designers, and developers that could all come into the product and build. And as I was mentioning earlier, so this is the developer mode, and there's a lot of like complex options and stuff.
Okay.
But for non-code, for like non-coders, I just removed all the options here, and it made the product so much easier for them to understand. Remove some of the space and options and stuff like this, so they can just get around the product much easier. And then for developer mode, like as a developer myself, I just really want to get into the code. Sometimes I don't really want to have to sit there and learn the platform. And this just allows you to do that. You can come in here, type stuff, remove stuff, and it will just automatically update here while still being able to actually come in and edit. So if you're a no coder,
Yeah.
whenever a developer changes in the code, you can still access it. And this is not really available on any other platform. So like Squarespace, if you were to use custom code, then
Yes.
a non-developer can't come in. Same with WordPress. So this is the real magic here, would be this stuff, being able to edit here as a developer, get it all here. And then, yeah, that's what I'd call the magic. And that's what people seem to enjoy.
That's very cool. We have a few questions here. can we see websites built on Versoly? So Sudeep, yes, we'll get to that. And then nice collection of templates. How frequently the new templates are added? So do you add blocks, templates on a continuous basis, or?
Yeah, so the blocks are added. I haven't really added many templates. I prefer the blocks, right? Because it's just like you can build whatever you want. But I feel like I should be adding more templates because customers seem to like them, or potential customers seem to. They can just envision their website, right? The second they see a template, then they can envision it. But my leaning's heavily towards blocks because, as I was mentioning earlier, the about like fitting your content around it instead of the other way.
And so Versoly is also optimized for SEO, paid
Yeah.
speed. Um, how do you take it? Like, do you provide CDN? I mean, from optimized images. Uh, what's the magic?
Yeah, so as I was mentioning earlier, why I can't do like a lifetime deal as such in the current form is because I use AWS for their CDN. So CloudFront is probably one of the best ones. There are cheaper versions, but
Yes,
because I'm already using AWS for everything, it makes sense just to use that.
yes,
So that's all around the world. And then for SEO, I built stuff like this. So I think it's called Yoast or something. Um, you type this in, and then you get all of these. So you've got your basic SEO, additional SEO structures. So make sure you've only got like one H tag, etc. Like I think there's about 27. I think for blogs there's 27 of these that it will go through, and there's like internal linking and stuff. So it's pretty powerful. And then yeah, that's the SEO. Page speed wise, I've got probably like 100 little optimizations in there just to make sure it scores 100 out of 100 on mobile. So yeah, you and all of this stuff. Let me go out. So on the new projects here, you can see like the Saas one scores 99 out of 100, and then accessibility is all 100. And then yeah, a lot of these are like either 100 on mobile or like 99. So
very
I'm
cool.
super focused on page speed. Like I always test the blocks, I always test the templates, and if there's ever a problem, then I go back and fix it.
Very cool. And um, what's like on an average, like I guess you can sign up for an account, start using blocks, you can go live pretty much in 15-20 minutes, right? Depending if you have the content ready.
Yeah, if you have the content ready, it's super fast. You can go live in 30 minutes max. Like we've had people upgrade, like go through it in 2 hours, where they've been able to create their website, upgrade to a pay plan, and then add their like domain, and then have it all up and running. So, and that's without any of my help. They've just done it all by themselves, which is really cool to see.
And this is all local. This is all on your cloud, right? There is no local development involved. Everything is the builder is all on the Versoly cloud.
Yeah, so there's no worrying about plugin conflicts, no worrying about getting hacked.
Yeah.
Um, none of the usual worries what happens with stuff like WordPress.
Okay. Okay. There is a question here. What is one of the biggest feature you're looking forward to bringing into Versoly in the near future?
It was the feature I mentioned earlier, the GitHub sync. So at the moment, like it can be a little like let's say you're an agency or something and you want to have multiple websites. At the moment, it's like $19 a website, but with this new feature I'm thinking about, in theory, for like $49 a month, you could have 100 websites all hosted, and then you could host it elsewhere where it's maybe more affordable. Or yeah, there are cheaper options out there. Like if you depending on where you want to host, or if you want to host for like GDPR, like if you're a German company and you want to host your website on Hertz or whatever it's called, then you can do that as well. And then that's the biggest feature I'm looking forward to. But there's a bunch of other little features as well. But that's probably the most exciting one, especially for this audience.
And you have got customers currently worldwide on Versoly, or is it mostly
Yeah,
specific?
like I think every continent we've got customers. I'm not sure about how many countries, but yeah, at least 50 countries, ranging from like Argentina, Turkey, Japan, Singapore. Yeah,
Yes. And
and of
no
course US
matter,
is the biggest one.
yes, yes, and no matter where they are, they would get the same. Their customers would get the same paid speed inside because of the AWS and CDN, CloudFront CDN.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. Can I export the sites and upload it to a different host? Yes, I think that's what Volkan is talking about. But Volkan, do you want to?
That's already available. So maybe I could do the plan, but it's like I don't like the UX of that, right? It's like where is it? I think because I'm on a demo account at the moment, but
Yeah.
basically there's an export button here, and then you just press export, and then you can take that and host it anywhere. So you could literally, if you've got simple landing pages, then yeah, you could literally just export, put that onto like Netlify, and then it'd be you could export and host in less than a minute. I've done that, and we've had some customers do that. Currently, the exporting is about $49 a month. That's just because the templates normally you're paying probably like $49 for a template. So I thought in its current state, it makes sense just to charge $49, and then they can export as many times as they want during that month.
Okay. Okay. Is this only to build static website, or can we build dynamic websites too? How about the integration with the plugins and database?
Yeah, so you can build dynamic sites. So with this here, so it's like a dynamic blog you've got here. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we've got a lot of SaaS customers. So knowledge base, most SaaS companies need a knowledge base. They need a change log, careers as well if they start hiring. And then I'm looking at more. But you can also build completely custom, completely custom databases. And then from there, you can build here. So this is another magic bit. I'm not sure I have time to go through it, but basically what could happen, what you can do is when you click on here, you'd have an option to select from the database, and then you'd have a selection, and then you'd have the option to pick on like a field. So you could have like blog excerpt, and then you could just literally build with the drag and drop editor here.
Okay. So for those who just joined in, I mean, we have had some discussion with Volkan around coming up with a custom plan, possibly where you could do some self-hosting and it would be cheaper. But yes, give him some time. I think he's going to work around maybe until end of September, maybe a bit later. But he's going to work on that, and then when it's available, we can announce that in the community, and you can go and sign up directly and take it for a spin. See if Versoly. You do offer a free trial though, so people are welcome to go and give it a try too.
Yeah, so it's like a free forever plan, so they can literally come in there and build. And if they have developer skills, then it's they basically get like so the core of it is Tailwind. I'm not sure how familiar your audience is with that, but what that means is like so another core feature is you can literally copy paste this code and then add it to an existing Tailwind website, and it just works like magic. And likewise, you could bring in your existing code into here. So a few of our customers have a thing called Tailwind UI, which is a ton of like really high quality
I have
blocks and templates.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah. So if you have access to that, you can paste it in here. And now what that means is your marketers can also access Tailwind UI. So it opens up a whole new world for like if you own Tailwind templates that previously wasn't available, and then clients as well. So if you're doing freelance work or like agency work, you can import all of your Tailwind UI stuff here. So there's a lot of features I didn't show you earlier. We have these like save blocks, so you could save a block here.
Yeah.
Save block. So now you've got your header here, and then you can just drag it back in here. So you could imagine having like 100 different blocks here that you've saved from previous websites that your clients can now access and drag in. And then likewise, we have, imported blocks. So you can also have imported blocks as well. And then this is saved as well to your local. Yeah, so this is saved. And then like what I'm hoping is they get partnerships with Tailwind UI and other companies. So instead of me having to build out all the templates, like there's world-class designers who could build this out and offer a very affordable price. So I'm talking with a few people, but yeah, so in theory, for like $99, you could get tons of templates, tons of blocks, and then just all import them here. And once they're imported, then you can drag and drop them straight into Versoly and edit it with the no-code editor.
Yeah, Shuffle. Have you heard of Shuffle.dev?
Yeah, so I'm trying to work with them as well. Nothing to really announce. It's like a lot of these companies are trying to do it by themselves. So I'm trying to work with people who are willing to partner as well. And I think if you've got customers who are Shuffle customers as well, then it'd be amazing to say, do you have a Versoly integration? Because we're not competing. Me and Shuffle are not competing. Shuffle is a way just to basically like get a template ready and then export into HTML, and then
Yeah.
that HTML you export could then be imported all into here, and now you have your now you have really good blocks from Shuffle all imported to here, and you can edit it here and then host it or export it out into again. So you could have a little funnel kind of thing.
Very cool. Yes, I mean I personally like Shuffle and Tailwind UI, so I'm glad to hear that it's any e-commerce ability.
So we've had people. So Shopify have a thing called Shopify Lite,
Yes,
which basically allows you to embed it into the site,
yes,
and that works kind of nicely, right? Because Shopify, their blogging solutions are not great. So if you're trying to create like a marketing website with e-commerce functionality, then that works nicely. There's another there's a what is it, ShopRocket, so anything with an embeddable one works nicely. And then I guess another cool feature, so depending on how technical the audience is, like what I'd love to do is basically, so we have here, so you could import a Shopify API with like you create endpoints, and then from there you create these collections, and then you'd be able to render all of your Shopify items inside of Versoly. So that's currently not available, but it's pretty easy to add if someone wanted to add that. And the reason you do that is because the Versoly loading times, the sites load pretty much instantly compared to say Shopify sites, which can load a little slow depending on what you're doing.
okay.
So the builder here is super powerful, but at the moment I'm just focusing mostly on marketing sites because I feel like that's where the biggest need is. But with some of these features, like this code thing, like we've had people create like admin dashboards inside of Versoly and then
Yeah,
being able to export it out, kind of thing. But that's not a feature I'm really focusing on. But there's so much in the future. There's so much in the future I want to build. So
yeah.
it's still very, very early days.
And what are some of the features in the future?
So A/B testing would be a big one. So at the moment, a lot of our customers will use like Google Optimize, or they'll pay for a solution like Unbounce or Instapage. So they might
Yeah.
be paying like $250 for Instapage.
Yes.
But there's ways that Versoly could basically do A/B testing, which would be a lot faster than Google Optimize. So the way Google Optimize works is you put it into your header, and then once a page loads, it would then send it off to the Google server and then bring it back. But in theory, you could have like an option here saying if option A, then display header A, and then if option B, then display like B, and then you could select it here. So it'd be a much smoother experience than say Google Optimize. And because the page editor is so powerful, it'd be even better than Instapage because you'd actually be able to build like pixel perfect stuff instead of being limited by some of these editors. Which are very, very old, like 10 years old, and they just don't give you the results you really want to see, especially when you're paying that much money.
Okay. Can it work with some of the popular CMSs like Sanity or
So it not at the moment, but the feature I showed you earlier, like
yeah,
that's on the roadmap and that's quite near. You can basically add the Sanity API here. So we have a few options. So we have a type sense, which is like how to put it, similar to Elasticsearch, and then we've got like Google Sheets, so you could pull in data from Google Sheets and then
yeah,
render it as a HTML or render it as a website. Superbase, which is like
yeah,
database solution. But yeah, we
yes,
could easily add Sanity, and then there's a few other ones. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Shopify. Like so, it could be like Sanity, Shopify. I just haven't had much demand for it. The most demand's currently being for more blocks and more templates. But if
yeah,
there is demand for it, then I can add those options.
yeah.
And as
So
mentioned as well, so for the export option, so you could
yes,
have a Sanity here, right? So you
yes,
code all of your website, and then when you export, now you've got you export it, and then export like sync it to GitHub, and then
yes,
anytime you publish a website, that gets then synced to GitHub, and then that would then be able to pull your data from Sanity. So it would literally be like a no-code editor, like a no-code page builder for like headless CMSs and WordPress as well. I know a lot of customers still stuck with WordPress, or
yeah,
they're like content editors use WordPress. So WordPress, headless WordPress could be in here, so you could pull in data from WordPress for your like blog, because you might have a bunch of blogs stuck on your old system, and then you can still use Versoly for like the page builder as well.
okay. So in terms of integrations, like I think you have a few integrations in place already, but there are
Yeah, so I've got a bunch of them, mostly for the SaaS companies that we've been speaking about. So like Google Analytics version 4 is here now, Tag Manager, Facebook Pixel, like chat widgets. Um, this is like SaaS affiliates. This is what I use the reward for. And then Hotjar, HubSpot, Chat, Full Story if you want to like monitor what people are doing on your website, and then Amplitude. And we've got Stripe as well, but I think that's a paid feature. And what Stripe can do is you can embed like payment links. So if you have a pricing table, a customer clicks on it, and then they can pay from there as well, and then Stripe checkout as well.
how easy it is like for Airtable API to be integrated.
So we currently don't have a native one. One of my friends is working on a solution, but that isn't done yet, and I'm not sure when it will be.
Okay.
If there's a lot of demand for it, then it's something I can think about. But it's something. It does seem to be that Airtable seems to be winning the database, like the no-code database. So something I think about. And one of the big things I'm thinking about is more like an API, so you could sync Airtable with Versoly here. So when I showed you this blog, right, you could
Yes.
in theory have any sort of collection here. So if you're doing real estate, you could have houses and then housing locations and stuff, and then this could all be synced to Airtable. And in that way, it's more like a native solution. But yeah, because the Airtable API is currently not that sophisticated. There's a lot of issues with it, and there's a lot of rate limiting and stuff. And that's why you see a lot of these other like no-code solutions trying to build on top of it, where maybe they're storing the data for you. And then that's probably what I'd have to do as well because the rate limits and the lack of search and stuff.
Okay. Okay. Just let me see if there are any more questions. Okay. I think we're good. So so is there anything else you want to show from a builder perspective? I know we covered quite a few things and there is a lot more to cover, but hopefully everyone who's live here, and we have a few folks live, so gives you a good overview of Versoly and how it differentiates from some of the traditional website builders. And there is a lot more to come. But yes, if you have any more questions, feel free. In the meantime, Volkan, is there anything else you want to show around, or can we move to some of the websites built on Versoly, and people can see how they perform in terms of page speed and things like that?
Trying to think of some names. I think I can share some after the event with
Yes.
some names and stuff. Like some of the customers, like I try to like some of the customers I talk to a lot. They have a lot of like marketing plugins.
Yes.
So from let me show you here.
Yeah. No, you don't have to show it like right now. I mean, we can
No,
always.
but I'm just showing this this Google Analytics thing. So if you type UA here, I have this delay speed. So for integrations that I have built in, like native integrations, you can
Yeah.
delay the loading speed, and this helps a ton. So if you have something like intercom and you don't delay the loading speed, you go from 100 out of 100 on mobile down to
Yeah.
like 30 out of 100. So it's really, really bad to have intercom and not delayed.
Yeah.
You're just losing customers. And a lot of my customers have these sort of integrations with other third parties.
Yeah.
So it's something I'm always thinking about, like how can I like make sure like it loads fast by default instead of having to either build these native solutions or and stuff like this.
Yes.
So yeah.
So that's something for uh, people to keep in mind as well who are watching it, right? So if to sum it up, like if you have certain integrations, it will affect your page speed and performance, which might result into you losing actually customers.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you're using any of these, it's best just to use these and then delay the load speed. And then this will literally go from, as I said, intercom, you can go from 30 out of 100 on mobile to 100 out of 100 on mobile just by pressing this one button, which is super insane. But that's just how these plugins work, or how these integrations work.
Okay. Okay. Now, so I guess we can move back onto. So hopefully that gives you a good understanding of what Versoly is and what are some of the unique features and how it differentiates from some of the other website builders. So yes, if you do have access to Tailwind UI, some of the other assets, you can easily bring them into Versoly Builder and create your and also create your own blocks or designs, right? So um, why is there a lock on Stripe? Um,
So
so
that was the paid feature. Yeah, so I felt like there's a few paid features. So one of them is the knowledge base. So knowledge base has the ability to search, like it has a real time search, and that costs me money. So I've added that, and then Stripe as well. There's a bit of customer support. Every time someone adds that, there's always these back and forth. So I've added that a lock on that as well. Because Stripe it seems to be simple, but there's literally about 4 or 5 little things. I think you were mentioning customer support earlier, right? Stripe's one of those things where someone's trying to add the Stripe to their website, and then they've got to contact customer support because there's a lot of these little issues. So
yes, I also want to talk a little bit about the pricing portion. And yes, there are some questions around is there an LTD? So there is no LTD, first of all, folks, because this is a builder with existing customer base. And as you can see, it has a lot of features and powerful. Not traditionally you would see in a builder in the LTD space. I mean, I cannot think of any. If there is one, please do point it out. But, it from a pricing perspective, it allows the founders to definitely make that investment of time into the product and an ongoing development, and you get what you pay for, sort of, right? Having said that, there is also as we talked earlier, Volkan is going to work on a plan which would be attractive to some of the people in our community, and you could use it to self-host. So if you are into self-hosting, if you want to take advantage of some of the features which we looked at, do keep a track of those announcements. And yes, where do people follow you? Do you blog, Volkan? Mostly is it on Versoly or Indie Hackers you mentioned earlier? Where can
it's
people?
mostly on Twitter. I'm on. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm just posting my random thoughts on there. And then, yeah, I'm always available by email as well if anyone wants to contact me about any questions about landing pages. Like I've reviewed probably thousands of them. I run page speed tests on every website I basically go on just to make sure, see what's going on. Um,
And what are some of your other projects? Is this your sole project you're monetizing? You mentioned about SaaS pages or things like that. What are some of your other projects?
so this is the main project, but I've got a bunch of stuff like I'm working on open source stuff for this. So there's Versoly, which is the main project, and then because I've been working with Tailwind, and then speaking with a bunch of other Tailwind developers, I built this framework called Versoly UI, which is I'm sure, yeah, your audience is familiar with Bootstrap. So Bootstrap give you a bunch of these components and stuff, which is great, but Tailwind doesn't. And it's a really big issue for like template builders and people just wanting to build websites quickly. So I've basically built a web like Bootstrap on top of Tailwind. So that's doing okay, and that's where some of my energy is invested. So yeah, just mainly stuff around websites, kind of thing. Try to
Okay.
stay focused because otherwise, I've got a
Yeah.
million ideas, but
Yeah.
it's just I got to stay focused.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And do you plan to expand your team at some stage, or
Yeah,
you
so
want to continue?
I'm big on hiring like world class developers. So
Yeah.
I follow some of my competitors kind of, and like customers will link them to me. So there's one team with about 20 developers from like certain like they've just hired cheap developers, and
Yeah.
I'm adding features faster than they have added features. So it's really about quality over quantity. So I really need to like yeah to hire a developer of my caliber is probably around 150 to 200,000 a year. And then I've got to feel comfortable hiring that person and being able to offer them a job. So still need to add a little bit of, and still need to add a few customers before I can start hiring.
Okay. There is a comment here from Alberto. He's saying seems expensive since there is a charge for many things and sounds like added feature is also a cost. Can you address that a little bit, Volkan, in
Yeah.
terms?
So the first So there's a free plan, right? So that I think it allows you to have 3 pages. So in theory, you could just use, if you're a developer, you could just use that, copy the pages, and then export it yourself. So you don't even have to pay to export if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, then yeah, there's a price to export. The $19 plan gives you access to basically everything except the knowledge base. So you can build like a blog, you can build all your marketing sites. You could have 100 pages of marketing, your features, etc., pricing tables. So all of that all comes included. So $19 and then saving yourself hundreds of dollars of developer time and being actually able to edit yourself, I think is kind of affordable, but maybe I'm biased. And then yeah, for the $49 plan, then that's like where you unlock the knowledge base and more like usage, or you unlock data bandwidth and yeah, storage and stuff. So it's definitely more on the expensive side at the moment. I've
Yeah.
tried to price myself more on the expensive side. I think that you have SaaS founders, right? So it started off at like $12,
Yeah.
increased to $15, saw no change in conversion. So same traffic, but same conversion. So it's just basically, and then better customers as well. The more I increased the price, the better the customers I got. So that
Yeah.
might be a learning for some of your community, is that cheaper prices doesn't always mean more customers, or
True.
and then more expensive prices can equal better customers.
True. And that's what you try, like, we are seeing as well, like, so there are a lot of like, AppSumo deals, and they have like crazy plans, and they have like a tremendous amount of sales, and 500, 700, 800 reviews, and people still end up spending $1,000, and at the end of the day, the product doesn't go anywhere. It ends up being, not really accepted in the mainstream market, and it just eventually ends up not being used, right? So
I think I've seen a lot of landing page builders on AppSumo and other places. So there's
yes.
two big issues. The first one is a lot of these are like kind of like hack together open source solutions, which gets you at the start, gets you like to point A, but then when you're trying to customize later on, it's really difficult. So Versoly is completely custom, and it's
Yeah.
about probably 5-6 years worth of code. Because as I mentioned before this, I was working on a PDF product which used a lot
Yes.
of the code base. So it's literally 5-6 years of pure investment in terms of the website builder, and it's currently I'd say unmatched on the whole web in the whole space. And I'm up against like billion-dollar companies, and like people will use Squarespace, they'll use Webflow, which is another $4 billion startup, and then they'll end up using us, and then they'll pay for our solution after using all these solutions. So I'm quite confident in saying that our solution is probably the best one for the certain customer. Um, and then
Yeah.
yeah, and then a lot of these like AppSumo deals is their open source solutions, and then they just can't add more features, and you see it all the time. Or another thing that gets them is they have these like really like advantageous deals for customers, and then
Yes.
you'll sign up, and then they're on a ticking time bomb because hosting costs are actually pretty expensive. Like no matter where you go, there's always hosting costs are pretty expensive, and people abuse them. So what
Yeah.
happens is like if they, as you said, if they don't get mainstream like appeal, then they can't afford to pay their hosting bills anymore, and then they
Yeah.
have to shut down. And this happens a lot, especially with landing page builders, because of the fixed costs and the emails as well. So if anyone's sending an email, there's a fixed cost for that. So those two are the risky ones if you're trying to do full lifetime deals.
Yes, and it does make sense. I hope people can resonate a little bit with that thought, because I mean, we majority of our community is basically lifetime deals, and there are some very unique projects on AppSumo as well which will do well, but there are, I mean, and we invite those founders for sure. But there are quite a lot more which is just based on some open source scripts, and those are the kind of projects we want people to avoid, and we avoid personally. So you mentioned Versoly, you built it from ground up. What is your tech stack, Volkan? What's your tech stack for Versoly?
Yeah, so front end is React, Redux, and then the actual websites, the published ones are just pure HTML. That's why they load so fast. There's no
Yeah.
like magic. There's no like React on there. Like you might see people using like Next.js or something, but they load slow, and then when they do load, they have to rehydrate. So I've just kept it super simple with HTML, and that's the plan going forward. I feel like most websites can just be HTML, to just keep loading really fast. And then backend wise is Node.js, Postgres, and then all hosted on AWS. And then before it used to be in Golang, but it's like it was slowing development time down. So I basically had to rebuild the whole backend, but I was able to rebuild that in a few weeks due to the tech stack I'm currently using.
Okay. Okay. There is another comment here. Any e-commerce sites done in Versoly? So
yeah, so there's none live that I can think of at the moment. There might be some that I don't know of, but as I mentioned, Shopify Lite is one solution that works really well if you just embed that, and then you can have a blog alongside of that, and marketing websites and product pages, etc. If you wanted to do that.
Okay, and we will post some examples, Alberto. Thanks for all the comments and questions. So maybe Volkan, once you get some time, we can chat and then we can post some examples later on in the community for people.
But they can feel free to run like a page speed test on Versoly.com and then run it on my competitors like Squarespace, Wix and stuff and see how I do. Like I'm always testing my homepage and I score like 98, 99 out of 100 on mobile, while competitors like Webflow score 30 out of 100, and they're bragging about their page speed. So it's not easy to get good page speed. A lot of it isn't as much as people talk about it. The second you start adding integrations and stuff, the page sheet just drops. So you need to always be aware.
Fair enough. Okay, I think with that it ends the questions. We are on the hour, so and it's it's going to be about 4 p.m. in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay. And any plans for the weekend, Volkan? Or are you going to be working on Versoly?
Well, I'll be working on Versoly in the mornings. I do most of my coding in the mornings because that's when I get my deep work done, and then enjoying the lovely weather while we've still got it.
Okay. Well, excellent. Thanks everyone for joining in and all those questions.
I just wanted to just thank the community. Like, there's been some great questions, especially some of the more no-code questions, like Airtable and stuff. So that was amazing to hear. And it's always good.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of good questions. And guys, we will do a follow-up once actually Volkan has that plan, because that's something I think would be of a lot of interest to people in our community, for them to having an access to something like Versoly at a cheaper cost would be very appealing, right? So there is a whole market out there, and if people can get the same benefits, of course, at the cost of self-hosting and management, why not, right? So Volkan, thanks again for doing this. I'm sure we are going to be keeping in touch and connected. When you do have the plan, for sure, let us know, and we will go ahead and announce it and then send some users your way.
Thanks. It's a great chatting. Super fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye.
We're gonna take on the world. Take on the world.